Get ready with me for an afternoon of filming while I talk to you about SIBO. Very sexy topic, I know. So I first heard of SIBO 6 years ago. It's still a relatively unrecognized disease that a lot of people struggle with, but they don't know they have it and they just think that they have IBS. The symptoms are different depending on what type of SIBO you have. So there are 3 or even 4 types of SIBO you can have. The first one is hydrogen, then it's methane, then it's combined hydrogen and methane, and then there is also hydrogen sulfate, which is a new one that I just learned that it exists and it creates also a lot of symptoms. So the symptoms you can expect, again, I'm sorry, this is not a very sexy topic. The symptoms you can expect with hydrogen are more loose bowel movement and the urgency to use the bathroom. The symptoms you can expect with the methane are more constipation, pain when having to use the bathroom, and the combined type has a lot of both. They're basically alternating, and on top of that, you also get a lot of other symptoms with both, with all types. And these symptoms are poor absorption of nutrients. So if you are deficient in vitamins and minerals, even if you are taking supplements and eating healthy, etc., this might be the culprit. There is also either like no appetite whatsoever, so you don't want to eat anything, or extreme appetite. And you are constantly hungry because your body doesn't get enough energy, doesn't get enough nutrients from the food. So you need to compensate with more food, which is just doesn't go anywhere. So you can either lose a lot of weight or gain a lot of weight with it, which is also weird. Some people lose weight, some people gain weight. So I, for example, I have always been a very, very skinny person, but ever since my SIBO got really bad, I started to gain weight. And as shocking as it sounds, in the past 2 years, I've gained 15 kilograms, which it's actually 30 pounds if you are in the US. So a lot of weight that I never even thought I can gain as much weight without changing my diet. It completely changes your microbiome. It changes how you react to certain foods. So for example, if you have the hydrogen sulfate type, you would have more reactions to foods that are high in sulfur. So for example, eggs. If you've suddenly started reacting to eggs and you're not allergic to them, this might also be a sign for it. So the main thing you need to understand is that SIBO means that things are not moving in the right direction. So instead of things going from up to down, somewhere between the colon and the small intestine, they start to go up. So the bacteria from the colon go up to the small intestine, and the food starts to disintegrate in the small intestine, which shouldn't be happening. The small intestine is basically the place where what's needed is absorbed into the system and what's not needed is pushed down to the colon to be removed from the body. But this changes somewhere along the way, and you start to get a lot of these symptoms. One of the telltale signs of SIBO, again, I'm really sorry about this, but it's a lot of gas. You basically feel bloated 24/7. You feel like you're going to bloat from what's living inside of you. You feel like you're pregnant all the time. Your old clothes, they fit you like jeans. They fit you up until the waist where they don't fit anymore. And nothing helps. Nothing helps. Even sometimes you try things, for example, probiotics that are supposed to be good for your digestion and they make you worse, or you try something else and it makes you worse. So yeah, nothing helps. And these are the things that normally doctors are going to ask for when they're trying to decide whether they should test you for SIBO. But again, bear in mind that there are not many doctors that know a lot about SIBO, so it's still quite unrecognized, I would say, disease that not many people know a lot about. So for example, in London, when I go to websites like Top Doctor or whatever, you can choose if they specialize in something. So if I want someone to understand, for example, SIBO, I would put this like gastroenterologist that also specializes in SIBO, so that I know that they know what I'm going to be asking them for. If you think you might have it, make sure to not just to go to any gastroenterologist, because not all of them will know. Make sure to go to someone that knows and that specializes in this and has interest in this. Test, how do they test you for SIBO? The main test that everyone uses for SIBO is a breath test, which is horrible, because you have to do a special diet before that. You shouldn't be eating anything, basically anything really, except for bread, eggs, chicken, fish, rice. I think that was it. There are 10 things that you can eat, no more than that. So it's very limited. But you have to be on this diet for 24 hours prior to the test. You have to fast for 12 hours prior to the test. And then you do the test in the morning, which is again, you drink one solution that might make you shit your pants. I'm sorry again about the details, but let's be real. Take measurements of your breath every 20 minutes for 3 hours, and then you're done. You can send it to the lab and you get the result in a couple of days. I've never had a negative SIBO test in my life, so let's say that there are a lot of people that will also get positive tests by mistake. So account for that. Always go with your symptoms first and then the test. And once you do the test, there are a couple of ways. If it's positive and if it's something that you and your doctors think that you should be treating, there are a couple of different approaches to treating this. So the first one is antibiotics. And there is one specific one that they use for SIBO specifically, which is called rifaximin. It's very effective, but very expensive. So if you cannot afford it, or if your insurance doesn't cover it, it might be really hard to get it. The good thing about rifaximin is that it doesn't get absorbed in the bloodstream. It only stays in the gut, so it only acts locally, and it's easier to tolerate. I have personally used it, and I'm very sensitive to drugs, but I was fine with rifaximin. I'm currently taking it actually as well. And this is my second time. But yeah, you have to bear in mind that the first time was 5 years ago. I didn't believe I had SIBO then. And I was quite not informed about what to do overall. I wasn't taking it very seriously back then. And if you have methane as well on top of it, or just methane, they're going to use a different type of antibiotic, which are harsher, and I haven't taken them even though they've been prescribed to me. But yeah, I guess again, please bear in mind that this is my own personal decision, and please don't base your decisions off of mine. I have the combined type, so they prescribe both of these antibiotics to me to take for weeks, and I'm very sensitive to drugs. So anything that can lead to even worse symptoms, I avoid. And that's why I've decided that I wouldn't be taking the second antibiotic, and I would just take rifaximin. And apart from rifaximin, there are also herbal antimicrobials that you can be taking. And you can just do herbal and not take antibiotics at all. But it's longer, and sometimes it's a longer treatment, and sometimes it leads to a lot of side effects. So it really is a personal preference. Because I've had SIBO for such a long time, And because I am so sensitive to things, I decided to first do rifaximin for a couple of weeks and then go with herbals just to completely eradicate whatever is in there. And I will be doing a 3-month or so treatment plan, but bear in mind that this was done for me by nutritionists, by functional doctors, by normal gastroenterologists. So this is a personalized plan. I don't say that everyone should follow that. It's just my own decision and my personal feeling about what's going to be best for my body. Obviously discussed with doctors and specialists. So you can choose for treatment, you can choose antibiotics, herbals, or a combination of antibiotics and herbals. But the main thing is that you have to figure out what's the root cause of your SIBO, because SIBO is not something that happens on its own. It's not like, I don't know, you get a virus or you get bacteria or whatever. You have a lot of bacteria normally living in your colon. So you don't want them moving up to your small intestine. And why this happened in the first place, this is what you need to figure out. Like, it's not normal for these things to move up and to go to your small intestine. Most of the times it shows because you have already issues with your immune system. So if you have other chronic illnesses, or if you have immune system issues, etc., you're more predisposed to this. Also, if you are not moving a lot. So for example, for me with ME, CFS, it's not possible to exercise as much as I used. I go out once a week, probably. And the most exercising I do at home is stretching. And so I'm not very active physically. I'm not able to be very active physically. So obviously the motility then slows down. Things don't move as easily as they normally move. And they just stay stuck. So it might be a lot of root causes. It might be issues with your immune system. It might be issues with your motility. It might be issues with your gallbladder or with your liver, that they're not pushing out enough enzymes or that they're not pushing out enough bile. The gut is so complicated. There are so many things that affect it. So if you don't really listen to your body and the symptoms and what makes you react and what doesn't make you react, it's going to be unbelievably hard to eradicate this. And unfortunately, there are lots and lots and lots of people that get recurrent SIBO. And I think I'm one of them because I was treated for it before. I was fine afterwards, and then maybe 1 year later it got bad again. So it is something that I've decided now to pay more attention to because it's been literally destroying my life. And it's not just GI symptoms, it also makes you tired on top of being already tired. So it makes the brain fog worse, it makes everything worse. And I even got anemia on top of it and so many deficiencies. And I was prescribed iron, I was prescribed vitamins, I'm doing IVs with vitamins. I'm doing so much and still my body is no, I'm not taking this in. The only thing that I feel helps is IVs, but that's because they don't go through the gut. So my gut has been really tormenting me and contributing to worsening of my overall health. So I've decided to look into this more and to think about how to eradicate it for good. And I'm thinking of including more how-tos in my upcoming ebook. So if you want to learn all my secrets and how-tos, be sure to sign up for my email so you get the notification immediately when the ebook is out. Love you!